fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Cyberchanger's Optimus Prime from the brand new Transformers Cyberworld line from Hasbro. So this is our fourth and final release in the basic $9.99 assortment here. Very excited to have Optimus. I will say he is the only figure, as far as I know, even if we count the armored Cyberchangers, to not come with any kind of accessory. He doesn't have a claw or a sword tail or a gun or anything. It's just Optimus, no accessories whatsoever. You can see down in there we have the standard open style of packaging. He's just attached to the back of this card here. Some cool artwork of Optimus here on the front right, and then down here we have him in alt mode. It does look a little silly though because the smokestacks you can see are like on the bottom of the bumper on the front here. I guess maybe you could use them as cannons. But yeah, that's just kind of where they put them. Over here on the back, we can see some product shots for the robot mode and the vehicle mode, and then also telling us that Galvatron and Snarl are both available, which I have already taken a look at. And then he's got the like city biome, I guess, is what we got going on there. So gonna go ahead, get him out of the packaging here, and we'll take a closer look. So here is Optimus out of the packaging. I think he looks pretty good. I really like the head sculpt. It's simple, but it definitely gets the job done. Nice molded head there. Blue for the eyes really pops. I like that quite a bit. You have some nice silver there for the face mask. He has one large window across the middle, which is something we don't normally see, but I think it looks good. Some nice silver paint down here for the waist. Then you have the kind of crotch and thigh area molded out of white plastic, and then the legs are molded out of blue plastic, and you can see that the wheels are actually here on like the front where his shins would be. Normally I feel like we usually put the legs together and then kind of flip the torso around 180 so that this part of the legs is facing up, but they've decided not to go that route this time because that would be impossible with the way the wheels are situated here, and you have this large kind of wheel well piece here. So interesting, something new that they've done here. They did paint the fists a really nice dark blue. Doesn't quite match the blue of the legs because they had to layer it onto the red paint, but it has kind of a cool metallic sheen to it, so I think it looks pretty cool. You can see the other wheels are here on the back of the forearms. We do have a white Autobot symbol on the back here, which will be the hood of the truck. I do kind of wish he had like an Autobot symbol. Like, I understand you wouldn't put it in the middle of the window, but, you know, maybe on one of the arms or something would have been cool. Just to give him an Autobot symbol somewhere. But other than that, I think he looks pretty good. Head does not move. You have the arms on the ball joints like usual. You can see little hollow here. Not too bad, but... And then the this area, of course, is hollow because that's where the stalk for the ball joint has to go. Now, he does have a waist swivel, and I don't really know why. Like I said, normally you would think we would rotate this 180 for the transformation, but we actually don't. So he just has a waist swivel for no real reason. None of the others do. So just an interesting little extra bit of articulation there for Optimus. Nice ball joint here in the hip. Little hollow there in the thigh, but the legs are pretty solid. Of course, they are hollow in the back, but, you know, what are you going to do there? Normally, the back of the legs are hollow because of how these transform, but in this instance, they actually could have been... I mean, they could have put something here on the back. I mean, I guess it would have been kind of a pain, and there would have had to been a hinge or something, and it would have been, you know, priced out by the price point. But yeah, this is the one time the legs do not need to be hollow for the transformation. But we have some nice molding here on the shins, which looks pretty good. Of course, we talked about the ball joint. He does have knee bends as well, like all the others do. And it's unmistakably Optimus. I think they did a pretty good job of capturing that here. I really like the head sculpt. I think that's kind of the best thing that he's got going for him. And that's not to put anything else down. I just think it's a really solid little head sculpt. It's unmistakably Optimus. It looks good. Yeah, all in all, I like him quite a bit. So we have Optimus and Megatron here, and I have to say, who would have thought Megatron comes with the axe, not Optimus? For once, there's been an Optimus release that doesn't have that stupid orange axe. I can't believe it. I do kind of wish he had a blaster, though. I understand that, you know, like the other guys have accessories when it makes sense because they integrate into the transformation, and he doesn't need a weapon to integrate into his transformation. But I do think just a really standard little black blaster here, his typical rifle, would have been really nice. Just kind of a nice touch. I'm not missing it. I'm not super upset about it, but I do think that would have been neat. Because now when these guys square off, Megatron's got the advantage. He's got horns, he's got an axe. Optimus is just going to have to, I guess, plow into him in truck mode, I guess. I don't know. Or just kind of beat him up fisticuff style. But yeah, I definitely think a little blaster or something just would have gone a long way. And then here he is with the only other Autobot that I have right now. Here is Snarl. Bumblebee is available in the Armored class. It's the only one that I haven't been able to find yet, so still looking out for him. But yeah, as of right now, these are the... Well, I guess I do have Grimlock, but in this size, these are the only two Autobots that I have. Alright, transformation is pretty simple. We're going to just go ahead and lift up the window piece here. And when you do that, it will cause this back section, as you can see, to kind of lift back. And then that will allow you to then rock it back on this piece here. And that will sit down there like so. Then you're just going to push in the head, straighten out the arms, and then they will fold in and peg into each other. You're pretty much done. At this point, you have these white pieces here that you can see peg into this bar. And I like it for the vehicle mode, but sometimes they do kind of get in the way in the robot mode, because I wish there was a way to kind of tuck that back when we don't need it. But you're going to just peg these pieces here onto there and then just smash the two legs together like so. And that's it. There you go. You kind of have to have the legs. Like, the reason I think they do this is because when you connect them like this, it puts the legs at the right angle so that the wheels touch the ground at the same place. Because if you didn't have that, like say if I pop these apart again, and I will say once they pop together, it's pretty snug. But if you didn't have those and you just had the legs straight out like this, like the way you would think it would be, you can see that the wheels won't be at the same level. And also, like I said, normally what we would do is we would use that waist swivel to rotate this and have this on the top and have the hollowness underneath. They didn't go for that this time. So unfortunately, if we peg this in together and then put this back how it's supposed to go, you're going to have all that hollow space upward, which is kind of a bummer. I wish that they had, like, I think it's funny they put the waist swivel in, but then they didn't use it for anything. Like, between this pegging in like this, the fact that you have the wheels unmistakably on the bottom here, and the fact that the arms, you can see, kind of notch into that little spot right there, you absolutely could not pull off spinning the waist. So I don't know why that extra joint is there. It's just kind of weird, but maybe at one point there were plans to do it that way and then they just scrapped that idea. I don't know. But yeah, that is Optimus in the truck mode. It's okay. Unfortunately, I do think it's kind of one of the weaker alt modes we've seen so far, only because there's a lot of gaps. Like, you can see this space is really open up here. This whole area is really open up here. You can just see the entire abdomen and waist. This being hollow. Like, if this was on the bottom, I wouldn't care at all. Like, if they would just spin it. But unfortunately, you can still see the fists. From the front, he definitely could use some paint. Even if they just painted the grill. Honestly, if they painted the grill silver, I think that'd be fine. That's all it's really missing. I do like that it has all the windows painted. And they even have like two different pieces here and it lines up. So I appreciate that. You have the windows going all the way around. And I like the yellow here for the headlights. I think that works. I just feel like just a little bit of silver on the grill and it would have been good. That's all it really needs. Got that Autobot symbol there on the top. So yeah, he's okay. He rolls well. I'll give him that. But yeah, it's not terrible. Certainly nothing wrong with it. Well, I shouldn't say nothing wrong with it, but I should say it's serviceable, but it could be better, of course. Like I said, I think if we could have just flipped that so that these were on the top and obviously just situate the wheels so that the wheels would be facing towards the back, which I think would look better in robot mode anyway. They could have just molded them a little differently, and I think that would have gone a long way. I think that would have been, even with this being open, I could probably forgive it. If we could spin those wheels and then there was a little bit of silver here, I'd say is pretty perfect. But also, I'm missing, I feel like that's a perfect place to put a blaster in vehicle mode. And again, we got nothing. So, but yeah, he's okay. I'm slightly underwhelmed, but for the most part, I do still like it. So ultimately, I do still really like Optimus a lot, but unfortunately, he might be my least favorite of this first wave, Again, there's a lot here that I do like. I absolutely love the head sculpt. I think that's the best thing going for it. Again, not that the rest of it's terrible. I just think that's a perfect little head sculpt of Prime. I do like the kind of one large window for a change. I think that's kind of neat. The silver paint on the abdomen looks great. And even though we don't need it for anything, I do appreciate the addition of the waist swivel. I mean, honestly, the robot mode, I think, is fine. And I don't really have too many issues with that. I do think it's a bit of a problem, though, with this piece here. And because, like, if you're trying to move the legs around, that there is a possibility, depending on how you move them, that you could hit into this, and that can be kind of a bummer. Not a huge problem, but it isn't something just to be a little wary of. And I do wish he had a blaster. That is one thing. I think if he had just a little blaster, you know, just molded in one color of plastic, even if it was blue, if they had to, like, you know, do it on the same sprue as the legs or something, I would have been fine with that. Black, blue, whatever color it had to be. A little blaster would have been nice. The transformation into the truck mode is fun. I like the transformation a lot. But unfortunately, you know, just having a lot of hollow bits in that final truck mode. Again, I don't hate it. It's just it could be a little better. The front needs a little bit of paint on the grill, and like I said, if they put the waist swivel in there, so I think if they had, all they really would have had to do was just mold this part 180 so that the wheels faced the back instead of the front, which I think, one, would look better in robot mode, and two, then we could have swiveled this, and then this part would be on the top, and the hollow part would be on the bottom. You wouldn't even see it. So, just a weird choice. Like, the way they did it, again, not terrible, just a weird choice. It seems like they were headed in one direction for a minute, and then pivoted, and I don't really know why. Maybe it just didn't hold together well enough for the other mode. I don't know. I'm not a toy engineer, but like I said, just the little things I would change personally if it was up to me, but I still think it's a fun little figure for $10. I don't think you can go wrong. And if you're not a huge fan of this version of Optimus, I think we're already getting a new version of him and Bumblebee in the second wave, so there's that. So I still think it's a fun little figure, but if you want to hold out for the other one, by all means. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, thank you so much for watching.